What I'm most fascinated by with working with clay is it is the most primal material one can work with, right? And that primal sensibility that is clay is also transcended and became material that we use in rocket ships. We use them to insulate motors, we use them in cooking and bakery. I think one of the things that I love also is that there's a duality to the material. You know, when you make something in ceramics, when you make a container, it is for carrying, for housing, it is for storage. And I think the duality is that it's used to carry physical material and store physical material, but it's also a place to store ideas or language or words or messages. And so for me, a good kind of vehicle for any story became these kind of clay vessels. My name is Tavares Strawn, and the title of this exhibition is Do and Be. I fell in love with the title Do and Be many, many years ago when I was doing research on pioneer Marcus Garvey, and he'd used this phrase do and be. And when I looked deeper into his use of the phrase, I started to realize that this phrase was popping up in various cultures around the world. And it was a kind of symbol or signifier of action and activity, which for me really coalesces the nature of being an artist, right? You're doing and you're being constantly. The symbols that you're seeing, the images that appear in the work, are about my interest in storytelling. I've always been fascinated by stories. I think stories are the connective tissue of the human experience. And so when someone tells you a story, it's a way for them to connect deeply with you. And so a lot of the figures that you see show up in the work are people who have made various contributions to the landscape of humanity, and for whatever reason, they have been excluded. And so I use this platform as a way to tell some of those stories. My definition of a self-portrait is something that is materially embodying the principles of its maker. So it really stretches out what it means to make a self-portrait. I really love some of the classic artists like Rembrandt, who's constantly showing up in the work. And I think it forces the audience to figure out what the role is of the artist. Because I think sometimes when you're in a gallery or a museum looking at artwork, the artist maybe vanishes to the background. So it's interesting to see what happens when the artist comes back into the foreground. And I think it forces the audience to reconsider their relationship to the work based on their understanding of a more direct encounter with the artist.